the day when we used to skinny dip. That was 95, now it's 2000 and we shouldn't hesitate to have our body parts to affiliate. He wanna castrate, but hold up, you know I can't wait. Knock at the door and let me enter. It be Lord D with a present to fertilize your fertile crescent. Here's a message from me to you. You know what I'm gonna do. And I'm the navigator, and you can be my co-explorer for this decade to come. The love movement, no red rum. Let's go get dumb with the lust. I mean the love boogie, oogie, oogie. Put down in 1 to 3,000 sessions of life expectancy to make a family of 3. Let's do the. And right there, I'm kicking science, right? 3,000 days or 3,000 sessions of life expectancy, right? What am I meaning by that? Today is April 24th, 2020. 3,000 days would be July 11th, 2028. Easily within those 3,000 days, you could have a family of 3. You know, hip hop is about science, and you know, we used to kick science within the verses of hip hop, right? There is a science to making a record. There's a science to how an album is laid out. And I remember there was a label that was located in Warrensville, and my store was in Warrensville Heights, Ohio. Warrensville Heights, Ohio is the first southeast side suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, right? First southeast side suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. And of course, my store was there, and it was a label, and they supposedly had got signed to Trill Records. The Pimp C connection, right? Pimp C had passed by that time, and his mother was in head of this division of what Pimp C had envisioned for MCs, and this label had got signed, to be a label from out of Cleveland, Ohio, based out of Warrensville Heights, Ohio. So Pimp C's mom came to the store, and I gave her a certificate and a frame honoring her for bringing Pimp C in the world, and she held on to that the whole time. And the person who owned the quote-unquote label told me later that yes, she really appreciated what we did, right? But anyway, there was a young MC who had a famous brother that was in hip-hop before him a few decades before. And he had a knack, this young kid had a knack for being able to pick beats, right? And he knew how to put words together and deliver potent verses over the beats that he chose. But as a person who had lineage in the hip hop game within Cleveland, Ohio, he was pressing the label to put him out first, provide him with the studio time, because he would bring the beats, he would bring the beat producer. He not only used the beat producer that was in-house at that particular label in the house, but he also incorporated other beat makers, other producers, also other cameo MCs, right? So this became a problem for the quote-unquote label owner, because to be truthful, that person had never put a record out before, right? And Crazy Dee had been putting records out, way back in the early 90s. This was 2009 by this time. So, I was moving into film. I was 2 years away from producing my masterpiece, The BlkIce Chronicles, The Shifter. I was 2 years away from that, but right then I was working on finding actors and things. But in between time, so this is 2009, in between time, I told the guy who owned the label, I said, look, I tell you what, I'll strike a deal with you. I'll take this guy and put his disc together for him, and I'll front load him, and then from then on he'll just recoup me, and then he'll be able to have money to go on ahead and do what he wants to do, and then it'd be less stress on you, because I realized the person did not know how to put records out. And sometimes people forget, because it's a short attention span that we have today. People forget that, Crazy Dee had the first bona fide hip hop commercial playing all over Cleveland and Northeast Ohio, right? They forget that, right? And they forget that Crazy Dee even knew how to put records out. But anyway, so I struck this with the kid. So this is what I told the kid. I said, look, I'm going to front load you on these discs. I'm going to press up the discs. I'm going to get 100 for my store, and I'm going to get 100 for you to have. You sell your disc and you just bring me back $100. Now, this deal that I got, because I had been in the game so long, it included fully designed covers. He found the graphics guy. They did it. They gave it to me. I got it all printed up, and the disc in a slimline case, but with ink on the disc. Not just burnt disc, but ink on the disc, laying everything out. And I got all of it for $100 for 100 discs, slimline case, ink on the disc, and the covers, right? All for just $100. So I said, you sell your 100 discs, you'll make $500. You bring me back 100, then you got $400 to play with. You can re-up and keep on moving with your discs, right? So I decided, being that I was doing this, because I had told the record store owner, the record label owner, quote unquote record label owner, I said that if this works, then you can bring me your next guys, and then we'll work out the same thing. And then that way it'll be going, I'll put my logo on the inside of the cover, and then it'd be like a joint venture, even though he didn't front load any money, right? But this is how I give back. Okay. So in between time, I'm using my different connections of who I am as Crazy Dee in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm going to places, I'm going to DJs while they're playing their sets and asking them, because by this time the Serato systems were out, or TrackDen was out. They could stick the jump drive right into the laptops, download the song, and play the song. And I was like, we'd like you to play my record. Now, this particular record label owner couldn't get the DJs to play his record, but on the strength of me, I took this young kid around, and we figured out what song would pop. It was number 3. Now, the science of making an album back then, laying out a CD, usually it was the 3rd song that would hit, and then from there it rolled. So the first 2 songs were good on an album, and they were good and they would warm up, but by the 3rd song you would set it up and you would hit it with the 3rd song. From then on, the album rolled. That was the science in 2009 of making an album. So I sat at my computer at the store with my mastering program, and I sat up there and I reworked many different times, because I got all of his tracks, and I reworked many different times how the album would play. I would burn it down, go to my system in the store, put it in, listen to it, say, nah, that's not it. Finally, I got the arrangement. First 2 songs, cool. 3rd song, hit, album rolls, boom. His CD was selling like hot cakes, right? Like brand new hot cakes from off the griddle. You know what I mean? Butter, syrup, all that. Selling like crazy, right? So we had an event up at the store for a listening party, right? And there he was supposed to, because he had sold all his discs, and there he was supposed to pay me my 100 back for front loading him, right? And then he would be able to put some money down to get some more discs. He could get double the disc and make double. He could make $1,000, right? Because the covers were already made. So then the disc would be even less. So he could. You see my point. So after the event was over, the person, the kid, he was like, I was like, okay, man, give me my 100. You know, that he had blew through all of that money, and all he had was $100, and he's telling me that he feels like I was cheating him for, asking for our agreement, which was, pay me back, and then you'll have $400 to the good, and then you'll be able to re-up twice as much and make twice as much as money, and then you'll be on your way as an artist. He blew the $400, but I got my $100 back. Then that's when it really went sour, because in between time, the kid would come back and he would be a dog and want to bring a bone, but I would never send a bone back in return. He would talk about how the quote-unquote label owner said, well, anybody can get DJs to play the music. No, that's not true, because he couldn't get the DJs to play the music. I remember this one DJ, and I give him a shout out now. It was Mark Cox. Mark Cox, I walked into the club where he was at, and I said, hey, what's going on, Mark? I said, can you play this record? Now, me and Mark had met in passing before, and he really had a real great ability to mix, right? And he was like, no, I don't play records. Then he looked at me, he said, you're Crazy Dee. I said, yeah. He said, let me get it, I'll play it, just off the strength of me being a good dude, right? And I remember DJ Explosive, who later went on to be MGK's, Machine Gun Kelly's DJ. He took it, and he was the first guy that I ever heard on the Serato system, Serato, tomato, that I ever heard that could take a record and turn it into a mega mix right there. I mean, he was going to town with it, had the Jamaican horns going through it, and then he broke off into another mix with other records and things. Incredible, right? So all this went down, and then after that, it went sour, because young dude didn't keep his word. He went off and found somebody else who could burn discs. He had the covers, and he could get some jinky slimline cases, and he burnt down the disc without writing on it, and started selling them without coming to re-up, right? And so my finished product, because my logo was on the inside, so my finished product has ink on it. You don't go back on your word just because you didn't have the money. You would just have to scrounge up the money and then re-up, right? So then the things went sour, and then all of a sudden he supposedly had a manager or whatever, and the manager came in and was telling me that my logo was on the disc. And I told him, I said, all you gotta do is take a Sharpie and Sharpie out the logo. He kept talking. I walked from behind my counter, turned him around, hugged him, walked him to the door, and said, this is done, this is over, we're not discussing this anymore, it's over, right? And it was truly over. What people don't realize is sometimes when you are a person who gives your shine, provides them with a platform so they can shine, it's your shine. Some people take it for granted, and they think that because they're great, you do what you do. In actuality, the person who takes time to give a person a chance is the person who's great, because most people don't care about what people do. Another Tales from the BlkIce.